Hey guys, I guess you could tell it's cold. When I left my car, it was about -12, which is cold. For me at least. There are a few upsides to the cold. For me, the biggest one is the fact that I get home with clean boots. That might sound funny to you, but I like that idea. And we don't have a lot of snow. But when you do, you get home with really clean boots. Just make sure they're waterproof. One more thing that I really like about 5-6 days of low temperatures, very low temperatures, is the fact that it just sucks all the moisture out of the dead wood. And if you want to make a fire, all you have to do is gather up twigs like this. They will just snap, and making a fire with this type of wood is very easy. I would say it's almost as easy as it would be in the summer. The only difference being that your hands are gonna get cold. But yeah, it does have its upsides. Can I carry this? Well, if not, I could just at least take a few of these small branches. There you go. Very good. Now, whenever you try to make fire in such cold conditions, I always said preparation is key. But then again, I always like to play around with stuff. So that's not why I turn on the camera, however. This little fire is for me to enjoy these temperatures. Because last year, we were actually spared such temperatures. I guess we had a couple of days of -20, but they went on, and we had, I don't know, -5 to the 0. But today I actually wanted to talk to you about my Wenger Ranger 78, I think it is. Now, I gave my first impressions about this knife, and after that I did put it in my Maxpedition in hopes of using it as much as possible, and I did. I didn't use it as much as I used some other knives, but I think I got a good idea about it, and I like it. There are a few things that I don't like, but I would say for an alternative to the Victorinox, it's good. Now, Victorinox started making the Ranger series under the Victorinox label, and I think they're gonna be better. Well, I hope. So, what I'm gonna do right now, I saw a tree that was half broken somewhere around here, and I decided to take it and use it as a walking stick. I don't like to cut live trees just for a walking stick, but when they're broken, I can't remember where exactly it was. I will do that. It was somewhere around here. I'll find it and turn the camera back on. So I'd like to just take this tree and leave everything that surrounds it alone. And for that, I'm gonna use the saw, of course. Now, it is a bit more difficult since I already nicked this little sapling behind it, and I don't want to do it again. This was not the best position, but I guess you can see it went very, very well. Alright. Good. Let's get this small tree back at camp, and have a walking stick and another small stick that I could use for something else. In my opinion, there's a big difference between bushcraft fire and a survival fire. You know, survival fire is something you make to save your life. Bushcraft fire, well, you take your time with that, and you don't really care if you get a fire from the first go, because you're not in a hurry. So it's my opinion that it's always good to have some homemade tinder. This wood is not really meant for burning. This is just supposed to give me some chaos underneath, you know, some protection from the cold ground, and also, like I said, some chaos, some airflow. I think I mentioned this before. One of my favorite homemade tinders is cotton soaked in Vaseline. If you're smart enough, this is way too much, by the way. If you're smart enough and you have some tinfoil with you, and you just put this, the tinfoil under the cotton, and the Vaseline will not flow through, so it'll burn even longer. It's good to practice. Oh, and by the way, I use medicinal Vaseline, so whenever you get a scrape, like I did just here, it helps. You can also, in the winter, rub it on your hands, because the cold does suck the moisture out of everything, and working with wood, you could get cracks all over your hands. I do. So, dual purpose if you want. So now what I have to do is just fray it out a bit and drop a spark on it. I'd like to set it up here, and then I'm just gonna break the sticks as I put them over this. What I could do, because I don't want to go all out and prep this, I do want to give myself a chance to fail. What I will do is I'll put this brace here. Even though it's frozen, I'll put this brace here so I can put some sticks so I don't smother my flame. Alright. It's that easy. Good. Just you come over here, and we'll just put sticks on top like this. If you have a good homemade tinder, It's really a cinch to get a fire. And I put way too much Vaseline here, but I don't mind. You know, what I do recommend is whenever you make a fire to prepare everything. You know, that proper preparation prevents poor performance. Very true. However, something very neat that I've learned, and I just said neat, yes, is that fire likes chaos. So it's also very much fun to play with that. And when it's really cold outside, my favorite fire is the upside down log cabin fire. I think that's what it's called. If you get yourself a nice upside down log cabin and you start it from the top, you also build a small teepee fire on the top maybe, you're gonna have a nice fire. Now I'm trying not to give it too much air, because normally that's what you would want to do. Give it as much air as possible while taking care that you have enough fuel. But like I said, what I'm trying to do is see how far I can take it. Said it in my last video, I think. I have a lot of failed attempts at making fire, and I don't show them because I think they're boring to other people, but I like to play around and see how far can I push it, you know. Alright, this will be good enough. This will be good enough. I have a few more sticks around here that I'll just break and set aside for when I want a bit of a flame. That'll give me a quick warm-up. There you go. So, my fire's out. Just a couple of coals remaining, and I will pour whatever water I have left over them. Very little chance of starting a forest fire now, but why take it? About the Wenger Ranger 78. Now, I have to admit this was the first time I used thick gloves like this to work with it. And it did also tell me a couple of things. It is great for slicing, more comfortable. When you catch it with gloves, it'll stay in your hand, it won't slip away. However, when you are sawing through stuff, it will. Without the gloves, you won't have that problem, although it is a bit uncomfortable because of this hump right here. But let's get back to the knife blade. The only modification I made to this knife was taking the edge down towards the handle. I saw no reason why I shouldn't enjoy the whole edge, the whole blade length, because that was one thing that led me to buying this knife. It has a bigger knife blade and it has a bigger saw blade. You can probably see this is rather a thin blade and it tapers towards the tip, so it is flexible. It takes some getting used to it if you're used to knives that don't have a flexible blade, but I had no problems with it. In whittling wood it did very well, and the fact that it has the blade on this side, my original thoughts were it was going to bother me. However, that didn't happen. I much more appreciated the blade length, and also I appreciated the locking mechanism. I am a fan of the liner locks, but I like this locking mechanism for multi-tool folder much more, or the one that is on my Victorinox rucksack where you just pull it down and close the blade. One more very nice feature about this is the fact that it does not have that extra strong spring, so there is less chance of you actually closing this on your finger. You see that? Very smooth. It doesn't snap down, but it does not open inside your pocket by accident. So I did like that. Now, the real star of the show is the saw, and this is the main reason why I got this knife. I tested it when I also cut a few pieces of wood with my Victorinox Forester, and this one is definitely better. More saw, you will get through stuff much quicker. Having a folder that has a knife blade and a saw blade when you're in the woods can be a really cool thing, especially when you have to cut a piece of wood and you're in a confined space and you can't really chop it with an axe or with a big knife. Such a small saw, can be a great thing. It can really get the job done very quick and very clean. So I really appreciate it. The only thing I wish that Victorinox will do, because Victorinox will start or has started making the Wenger Ranger models as Victorinox knives. So I do hope they will get a model that has a locking saw blade. And that for two reasons, striking a ferro rod and sawing. Whenever I strike a ferro rod, I do tend to want to go with the tip, and sometimes it can't close the saw blade on your hand. And the same is true from when you're sawing through wood. If it gets jammed, if you jam the tip or the wood presses on the blade, sometimes it'll want to close it. Locking mechanism would be, well, the best thing you could do for this knife, in my opinion. I did not use the bottle cap opener and the flathead. However, I did use the can opener. When I broke my wildlife hatchet, that chip stayed embedded in the piece of wood there, so I just put the can opener in there and I pried it out. Now, the pleasant surprise was the fact that it did not break. It did bend, but it did not break, and that is what a tool should do. Before it breaks, it should bend. I've said that numerous times, and it's true for this case, so it has helped me out. Other than that, I don't really use these two tools. I did not use the awl, but I did use the Phillips head screwdriver. Regularly, I will say I like it when a multi-tool has an awl, because it can come in handy. With this knife, the opportunity never came up. However, I did use the Phillips head screwdriver, and I liked it. I don't really care about the tweezer toothpick combination. I need the tweezers much more than I need the toothpick, but I don't mind the fact that this one has neither. Overall, very happy with it. Not sad that I got it. It's going to stay in my Maxpedition. It's going to come out with me. Would I choose this over my favorite Victorinox, which is the rucksack? No. I think the rucksack, even though it's a bit smaller, it's more comfortable to work with and it feels more stable in hand. However, like I said, I do like this knife. I hope you also like this video. If you have any comments or questions about the Wenger Ranger 78, just ask me in the comment section and I'll get to them as soon as possible. I'd like to thank you for watching, and as always, I wish you all a great day.